Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking something you probably have every single morning coffee, and we're going to look at the tiny hidden details that completely change how it tastes. We're diving into what is, I think, the ultimate technical showdown in any cafe, espresso versus lungo.
Right. And the core idea here, which is just fascinating, is how much control you have. You
Yeah.
take the exact same bean, same machine, same everything, really. And just by tweaking two little things, how much water you use and for how long, you get two completely different drinks.
Yeah, you go from this, tiny shot of pure magic to something way more mellow, more aromatic.
And that's our mission today. We want to analyze the physics of the extraction. It's not about changing the ingredients at all. It's about mastering the process. For you listening, understanding this means you can choose your drink based on exactly what kind of flavor you're after. It really shows the power of precision.
Precision is definitely the word. So let's start with the foundation, right? The classic espresso shot. It's the benchmark for everything else.
It is. It's the standard. And an espresso is all about speed and concentration. We're aiming for, about 1 ounce of liquid? And it has to be pulled in a very, very narrow window of time, usually somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds.
Okay, so it's a very aggressive process then, forcing hot water through fine grounds under all that pressure.
Strongly aggressive.
But why is that speed so critical? I mean, we all know we want that rich, bold flavor, but what's actually happening chemically in those kind of seconds?
Well, stopping it quickly is totally intentional. You're trying to grab all the early stage compounds.
Early stage compounds.
Yeah, so think of things like fruit acids, the simple sugars, all those delicious coffee oils. They dissolve really, really quickly. And that's what gives a shot its intensity, that sweetness you taste, and that nice acidity. The water just doesn't have enough time to pull out anything else.
And that creates that thick, almost syrupy feeling in your mouth.
Exactly. That's what coffee nerds call a high TDS, or total dissolved solids. It gives it that viscosity, that body.
And that high TDS, that's visible, right? I'm talking about the crema. We hear that word all the time, but what is that beautiful foam, scientifically speaking?
The crema. Yeah, that's a great piece of jargon to understand because it's not just foam. It's actually a really dynamic emulsion.
An emulsion. Okay.
So when that pressurized hot water hits the coffee, it forces out CO2 gas that was trapped in the bean during roasting. That gas then bonds with the coffee's oils and proteins. So what you're seeing is this rich temporary layer of tiny gas bubbles, all suspended in those oils and sugars. It's the visual proof that your extraction was done right.
So the espresso is short, it's fast, it's intense. It's all about maximizing those sweet and acidic notes. It's the boom that wakes you up.
The boom experience, I like that.
Okay, so now let's pivot to its cousin, the lungo. The name itself, lungo, it's Italian for long, which kind of gives the game away, doesn't it?
It does, exactly. A lungo is not a different recipe, it's a whole different extraction profile. Use the same amount of coffee, same pressure, but you use way more water. And this is the crucial part. It takes much longer to pull. We're talking maybe 35 seconds, sometimes up to 50 seconds.
Wow. Okay, so an extra 15 or 20 seconds. In our normal lives, that's nothing, but in this high-pressure environment, that must be an eternity.
It is.
So if all the good sweet stuff comes out first, what on earth are we pulling out in that extra time? What's left behind?
This is where the flavor profile just completely shifts. Once you push past that 30-second mark, you're in the final stages of extraction. You've already got the sugars and acids. Now the water starts breaking down the less soluble and frankly less desirable parts of the coffee grounds.
Like what?
Things like cellulose and lignin, the actual physical structure of the bean. And those are the compounds that contribute bitterness, that dry, astringent feeling. You're building out tannins, other big molecules.
Yeah.
So while the lungo is definitely lighter and more aromatic, because of all that extra water, it always carries that risk of tasting a little bit bitter or even flat.
That brings up a really interesting question. I think a lot of us have wondered this. If the lungo is pulling out these bitter compounds, why wouldn't I just take a perfect espresso shot and add hot water to it myself? Make an Americano.
That is a brilliant question, and it gets right to the heart of the technical difference.
Okay.
The answer is all about extraction kinetics. An Americano is a diluted espresso. You're taking that perfect, concentrated, early-stage shot and just adding water, stretching it out.
Right.
A lungo, on the other hand, is a completely different extraction. It's a full-range extraction.
Yeah.
It has the early sweet notes and the later bitter notes all integrated together during the pull, and that creates this unique personality. Some people would say it has more depth. Even with that bitterness, you just can't fake that by adding water later.
So we're actually talking about two structurally different drinks. made from the exact same stuff, but separated just by time and water. Let's just break that down one more time.
Sure.
Espresso. That's the standard. Short pull, 20-30 seconds. You get a thick, syrupy body, intense sweetness, and that complex acidity.
Mm-hmm.
And the lingo is the long game, 35, maybe 50 seconds. It's a bigger drink, smoother texture, way more aromatic, but with that hint of bitterness from the later compounds.
And what's so wild about it is that this huge difference in taste, it just comes from two simple adjustments. We didn't change the coffee. We didn't even change the grind size. It just proves that the entire flavor profile depends on how quickly you get that water away from the grounds. It's all about precision.
So this knowledge helps you choose, right? It's about what you're in the mood for.
Exactly. If
Yeah.
you want that quick jolt, that flavor that just hits all the high sweet and acidic notes, the high frequency notes, you could say, you go for the espresso.
But if you're looking for something to savor, maybe something longer. If you want to taste the whole story of the bean, including those deeper, earthier, maybe even mellow, bitter notes, then the lungo is perfect.
It's the laid-back experience. You sip it, you think about it.
And here's a challenge for everyone listening. If you really want to get it next time you're at a good cafe, order both, an espresso and a lungo from the same bean, and taste them side by side.
Oh, that's a great idea.
You'll physically feel the difference in your mouth, that viscosity, and you will instantly taste that contrast between the punchy sweetness and the more complete, slightly bitter complexity.
And the central lesson here really is that the definition of a complex flavor can be completely controlled by extraction kinetics. It's just the rate at which solids dissolve into the cup. Mastery is just regulating water and time.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. We've shown that two tiny, precise adjustments, a bit more water and maybe 30 extra seconds, can completely change a coffee bean's personality. It goes from being this punchy, acidic thing to something smooth, nuanced, and a bit bitter.
A total transformation.
So if such a small shift in the process can redefine a flavor so dramatically, where else in your life or your work are you maybe overlooking the power of just regulating time and volume? Think about how often a better result doesn't come from a new ingredient, but just from slowing down. From extending the process just a little bit. Reflect on that next time you order your coffee. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.